Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. First and foremost, sorry it's been so long. I have actually found a full-time job, which I'm super duper happy with. Thank you so much to everyone who was like watching and recommending, by the way, the videos in the interim. I saw that and I was blown away. Thank you so much. And to everyone that was like supporting me through the rougher times, I really appreciate it. So awesome. I'm super happy now, and through that I honestly think I found much more motivation in the game again, like passion and motivation in the game. So I've been really enjoying it. And speaking of which, let's go through a few different things. I really want to show you this clip in particular, which this may seem like just your ordinary centric catch, but it actually ended up being my 100,000th capture, which I, have been working towards for a while. So I really enjoyed that. That was a little while ago now. The crux of this video is actually, finally, I competed in a cup. We got the Ferocious Cup done, which was awesome, and I'm going to show you basically what happened. It was quite a small tournament. You guys are probably used to a lot more rounds, but we got 3 rounds in, and I'm super duper happy. Jamie and Jay and Blair did an awesome job of promoting and all that sort of jazz. So as per usual, they are wicked. I finally got the day off and got to turn up to a tournament. So let's have a look at what ended up happening. 3 rounds of pure fire. Alright guys, so for my team, I am using an Alolan Ninetales with Charm, Psyshock, and Dazzling Gleam. I'm using a Lucky Suicune with Snarl, Bubble Beam, and the recently added Hydro Pump. That's me personally recently adding that. The 201 ranked Donphan with Counter, Earthquake, and Play Rough, who I'd only just switched back to Counter after experimenting with Charm. FYI, not a great idea. The lucky Linoone, shiny Linoone with Shadow Claw, Grass Knot, and Dig. And then the shiny Alolan Raichu with Thundershock, Thunder Punch, Grass Knot. And the shiny Nidoqueen with Poison Jab and Earth Power. Round 1, match 1 is going to be against So Far Harder Reach or Jay. His team is going to consist of Alolan Raichu, Vaporeon, Laron, Shelgon, Skuntank, Alolan Ninetales. And my team is, as we have previously discussed, with all the same moves. So, jumping in, we catch the lead. Suicune into Laron, which is beautiful. The idea with Suicune, I wanted to bring him in and just splash as many bubble beams around their team as I possibly could. I didn't get that quite right because of the new-ish switch mechanic. It's caught me by surprise a couple of times, as you're going to see right now, where I flub it twice. Sorry about that. My bad. Then I lost track and thought it was going to be a flamethrower, so shielded just to preserve some the HP on the Alolan Ninetales. The Laron's going to come back in after the Shelgon gets deleted, and he's going to delete me subsequently, which is annoying, sad, but the Alolan Ninetales did its job, so I'm going to bring back in the Bubble Beam spamming Suicune. Beautiful. And then I just snarl him all the way down after I think I shield, which is the right move, I think, in this situation. I didn't anticipate, however, that he'd have a Vaporeon. So, in this case scenario, I was like, oh no, I have a Donphan in the back. This is not going to be very good if I just let this thing delete my Suicune. This Suicune has to do the most work it possibly can. So, I decided to reveal Hydro Pump and hope that he didn't shield it, just thinking it was another Bubble Beam, which actually happened. And then he got into the awkward situation of having to shield this Bubble Beam because he didn't know what I had in the back. But I was still absolutely cacking my dacks because obviously I've only got a Donphan left. Here we go. Water Pulse, super effective damage, but I reckon because I spammed so many Bubble Beams, it all came right. So, we take round 1. Alright, we're going Linoone straight into his Laron. So I'm going to be honest, I don't know this matchup at all. I know we had a Grass Knot that's going to do something. So I was going to go for that. He's going to go for a Body Slam, and I'm going to block it because I don't know if I can take that. I'm going to try and throw a Grass Knot his way, and perfect switching. Well done. I need to be more aware of the switch clock because as you'll see in this match, it's used against me so badly. Anyway, I switch into my Alolan Ninetales and eat the Twister and delete his Shelgon again. We're back in the situation of Alolan Ninetales v Laron, except this time I decide to burn the shield and go for some extra charm damage and try to burn a shield with a Dazzling Gleam, which I then get to the Dazzling Gleam. I then am able to burn his first shield, and so in this situation I'll then bring in the Suicune. And I want to try and get to a Bubble Beam to try and start lowering the attack of that Laron as quickly as possible. But again, a really, really, really good switch in. And Vaporeon comes in. So catches the Bubble Beam. I decide to then go for another Bubble Beam. After you see me, I'm drifting over to the Hydro Pump there. But no, go for a Bubble Beam again just to lower the attack 2 stages. Last Resort still does a fair bit, but after I eat the Last Resort, I wanted to come in with the Linoone and get the Grass Knot off. I potentially should have come in straight after I hit that second Bubble Beam. I needed as much time with this Linoone as possible because, as you'll see, another perfect switch in, and the Laron comes and eats the Grass Knot instead. And then my Linoone can't build up to another one to take out the Vaporeon. Now here, I could have potentially just gone straight up for the Hydro Pump. Not sure if I would have made it in time. I probably would have actually. Probably would have made it in time. So potentially could have just gone for a Hydro Pump, but get Last Resorted for the win. We're all tied up and we lead our Donphan into the Shelgon. So all I knew in this situation is that the Play Rough could catch it by surprise, but he switches the shiny Vaporeon into my shiny Linoone. And in this situation, I was pretty keen to get as much Grass Knots off as possible because I knew I had time and shields this time around. So it's going to unleash a Last Resort, which I'm going to block. He blocked the first Grass Knot, and then I unleash a second one. And he's potentially going to block this one. There you go. He does. So I know I'm going to be able to get to another Grass Knot before he gets to another Last Resort. So that's what I'm going to do. And take out the Vaporeon. I was being very, very, very cautious that time to make sure that I didn't get switched in on. And then for good measure, I get a Grass Knot on the shieldless Laron just for some nice neutral damage there, which is fantastic. Very happy with that. At this point, I decide to bring in the Donphan again because he can counter him down. I don't know about IVs or whatnot, but I'm thinking that might have helped because this Donphan's pretty good PvP IVs. And we actually get the surprise Play Rough to delete the Shelgon. So very well played to Jay. 2-1. So round 2, match 1 is going to be against Tim. Of course it's going to be against Tim. Let's go, Tim. This is going to be wicked. So his team is going to be B-Barrel, Ninetales of the Alolan variety, Umbreon, Vaporeon, Alolan Sandslash, and Nidoqueen. And my team is, as we've previously discussed, with all the same moves still. So let's go right into it. We're leading a Donphan into a B-Barrel, and this is where I find out that this is a terrible matchup for me. This is one of those panic situations where I should have probably just switched out in the first place, but I panic and just get out of there as quickly as possible by fainting. So I Grass Knot, try to go for the Grass Knot on the shiny Linoone instead, because, you know, I've brought in a water counter that is pretty soft. And I know this is probably going to be a Hyper Fang, so I'm going to block that. Share shields, if you will, or match shields. Go for a Grass Knot again, try and get this B-Barrel off the field. And we do, finally. So B-Barrel's gone. Umbreon comes in. Problem child Umbreon. So I know my Linoone's not going to be able to do too much against this Umbreon, unfortunately. We're going to get hit by a Foul Play, and I'm going to go for a Dig. Don't know too much on which one would be more energy efficient in that scenario, but the Dig gets shielded anyway. And we're allowed to bring in our Alolan Ninetales. Now, Alolan Ninetales against pretty much the rest of his team is pretty much pushing. It's fighting an uphill battle. So we're going to see how it goes. The charms are slightly neutral, so somewhat resisted by the Alolan Sandslash, and he goes for the Bulldoze, which I shield. We're going to try and get as much charm damage as possible and go for the sort of one-hit Dazzling Gleam, if you will. I didn't know how much Psyshock was going to do, if I'm honest. Probably should have just gone for that, as we get a weak connection, but we're able to take out the Alolan Sandslash, and unfortunately, before we can do any more sort of charm damage or any more fairy damage on this Umbreon, it's going to be able to double foul play us and take us out for the win. So, well played, game 1, Tim. Alright, so game 2, we lead Suicune into B-Barrel. And I'm like, okay, this isn't too bad, right? This surely shouldn't be too bad. It's water versus water, and I'm able to get to the Bubble Beam first, which is going to lower his attack for not only the Suicune fight, but the fight with the Pokemon afterwards. And I was still keeping in mind that, this time I didn't really bring a proper water counter, and B, that I wanted to spam Suicune around, so those two kind of counteracted each other, if you will. So I realized I hadn't revealed the Hydro Pump to Tim. So after going for another Bubble Beam and tanking a Hyper Fang, I go for a Hydro Pump and am able to take out the B-Barrel. It potentially could have taken him by surprise. The Bubble Beam is then able to be fired off on the Umbreon, and a shield is burned, which is kind of interesting. So I switch out the Suicune into the Donphan and am able to go for a sneaky cheeky Play Rough, which does a lot of damage, and I think it possibly took him by surprise. If he had switched those two shields around, he would have had a much, much better chance of taking me out in this fight. I may have gotten to another Play Rough if we were staying in that matchup, but just look at how much counter damage does to Alolan Sandslash. I'm not able to get to any charge moves, but man, did Donphan pay off in that battle. Suicune's able to come back in, and before he gets the Bubble Beam, the trifecta of Bubble Beams on the opposition team, he gets taken out, and I was forced to charm the Alolan Sandslash down with Ninetales. Alright, another decider. 1-1. We go into the final round. Linoone versus Umbreon. So this time around, I've got shields, I've got time. Again, I'm just going to go for as many Grass Knots as possible. It's the lowest energy move. Cost effective, you know. I'm going to eat as many foul plays as I can, which at this point looks like it's only going to be about 2 before I'm within farm down range. This Linoone, not great PvP IVs. That's 2 Grass Knots so far. And I'm going to eat another foul play here. As we experience weak connection, has anyone experienced that? I ask somewhat sarcastically, because I'm pretty sure everyone has experienced that in every single battle. So that's a 3rd Grass Knot. That's a 4th Grass Knot. And 2 of them are shielded. So that is beautiful, Linoone. Thank you so much. At this point, when his water counter comes out, I assume he's got one in the back. I'm like sort of crossing my fingers that Suicune can handle that at this point. Which, here we go, it's B-Barrel. And as you notice, I stay in a little bit too long, but that was sort of on purpose because I wanted to make sure I got a little bit of counter damage there. I knew it wasn't doing like as much as the water gun damage was doing to me, but I wanted to at least do some. So Suicune had a little bit of an assist in taking out the water type because he's not a water counter. So anyway, we Bubble Beam him as many times as we possibly can. I'm almost certain this is a Bubble Beam as well because I wanted to go for the Hydro Pump. And again, I probably should have gone for the Hydro Pump just for the, the one-hit KO aspect of it. But I just wanted to make sure that he was like doing no damage to me. And I wanted to try and get the Bubble Beam off on the Umbreon. But it had too much energy. It was able to take the Suicune out. Then I'm able to come back in with the Donphan and super effective Play Rough that Umbreon. And then when I saw Nidoqueen, I literally had to race it because it was right on Earth Power. I know it was. And I was able to take it out with the Earthquake. So GG's Tim. Very close. Stina Guy v Expert Lynx. He leads his team with Umbreon, Alolan Ninetales, Shelgon, Nidoqueen, Alolan Sandslash, and B-Barrel. and my team is as previously mentioned with all the same moves. Now, what a lineup, guys. We got Jay, Jamie, and Tim, who are all some of the best in New Zealand in their own rights already. So, oh my goodness. This is going to be hard. So we lead a Donphan into the B barrel. And as we know from previous matches, this isn't a good match. So I wanted to switch and get the Bubble Beam off on the B barrel first. I don't. He switches in his Umbreon, and I commit the cardinal sin, if you will, of getting the Hydro Pump first. Then I go for the Bubble Beam. So at this point, I'm pretty sure he's just banking energy, because there's no way I should have been able to get to that Bubble Beam before he got to a charge move, which is evident by the fact that he then back-to-back foul plays me. So, well done. That was very nice. I'm at least happy that I got the Bubble Beam off first, though, to reduce the damage of those. At this point, I decided I'm going to try and bluff going for the Hydro Pump, even though I knew I didn't have enough energy, but Jamie knows me way too well, and no, I did bluff a shield out of him, which is fantastic. That's literally what I wanted to do. So, Suicune, you're all good to go down now. I've got 2 Umbreon counters in the bag. The only issue is what the heck am I going to do about the third Pokemon, which I literally haven't seen yet. So, here we go. The B-Barrel is going to come back into this Donphan, and I'm going to try and go for a charge move here. Maybe I should have swapped out, potentially, to the point... There you go. I did swap out. There you go. So, I'm trying to bring in this Alolan Ninetales to charm down the B-Barrel. It takes a lot of damage from Surf, so that Bubble Beam would have been very handy. And there you go. As soon as I switch in a Alolan Ninetales, I've revealed a Nidoqueen in the back. So, there's an issue. That's a big problem. And it's going to Poison Jab me all the way down. And knowing I haven't really got that much left, I'm going to counter down the Nidoqueen, and unfortunately the B-Barrel had just enough energy, and it's going to take me out. So, well played, round 1. Pressure cooker time! It's round 3, game 2. We lead into his B-Barrel, our Linoone, which I know is at least a better counter than Donphan. So I'm going to go for the Grass Knot, which I assume he's going to want to shield, which he does. Then I'm going to switch into the Suicune, and I'm going to try and get to the Bubble Beam. Because this is a unobstructed, unhindered Hyper Fang, I decide to shield that. And then I'm going to just pump off the Bubble Beam into the freshly switched in Umbreon. So, again, I should probably have... I want to make sure that I'm keeping an eye on that switch window as well, especially in the editing/voiceover process. But I'm going to unload the Bubble Beams as much as possible to reduce the foul play damage. But it's not so much that Umbreon does a lot of foul play damage, which he does. It's just they do a lot of foul plays in general. He's so bulky that he can just do so many of them. So, going for the Hydro Pump, not the Hail Mary. I know it's not going to take him out fully. But I switch into the Donphan after Suicune's given him the old 1-1-2 jab kind of combination and try to counter him all the way down. He's got so much energy that he gets off 2 back-to-back, or almost back-to-back foul plays. And then I'm able to counter him down finally. So, in comes the B-Barrel, which, as we know, isn't a great... Donphan isn't a great counter to. I decided to block the Surf because I had a Play Rough ready to go. So, in we go to the final stretch, and I'm thinking, okay, at this point, I really want to get the Bubble Beam off on that B-Barrel. Photo for the raid chat comes through, which is fantastic. The attack gets lowered, and I don't have any more shields left, so B-Barrel's going to take me out, but at least I finally got the Bubble Beam off on that B-Barrel, and now his normal typing is really, really hurting me here because the Shadow Claws are doing nothing. I really wanted to go for the Faint Down. That was pretty much my only option, but B-Barrel was doing so much with the Water Guns, I had to Grass Knot, and then, yeah, there was nothing I could do against a full health Nidoqueen, even with Dig. So we're going to play out the third match anyway. We lead a Suicune into the Alolan Ninetales, and I'm thinking, okay, this is fine. I can get some one, maybe, Bubble Beam off on this Alolan Ninetales to reduce its charm damage. So I've got the 1 so far. I've got 2 now, which is brilliant. Pichow! Attack fell. So that's awesome. I'm thinking I'm just going to keep the Suicune until it faints and just blat the Alolan Ninetales with as many bubble beams as possible. But then I decided to change my tact again and go for the Hydro Pump, which actually takes out the Alolan Ninetales. Fantastic. Awesome. So didn't quite, though. That's the key scenario there. I didn't quite get to another bubble beam. I possibly could have conserved some HP and maybe shielded somewhere along the line earlier on, and saved myself a bubble beam for the Umbreon. However, the Umbreon is now up against the shiny Nidoqueen. First time I've used it in the tournament. And it only had Earth Power. I know I've probably mentioned that earlier in the video, but it only had Earth Power. And it's going to go down to this Umbreon. I wanted to save shields for whatever I had in the, make sure that I could try and put up at least a bit more of a fight with the Pokemon I had in the back. So, Nidoqueen goes down, and I bring in my, after a little bit of lag, Alolan Raichu, because I decided to switch up pretty much everything in the last match, because I knew I had already lost. So, at this point, I'm like, oh no, oh dear. What a terrible matchup this is for me. So yeah, I go for the Thunder Punch, and even that is just going to get shielded. And yeah, Umbreon is able to snarl me down, and we lose 3-0 in the final. Unfortunate. Ouch. So, there you have it. Jamie, Ostina guy, pulls off the victory. Well played. As you can see, he clean swept it. 3 points. Your boy finished second. Got something to put on a hat, so I'm very, very happy with that. Thank you to everyone who attended. Super happy with the performance of my team, and I think everyone's team was really, really interesting. There was someone running a Kangaskhan and a Licky Licky, which, that's my kind of team. So everyone who came from out of town, everyone who was a last-minute stand-in, thank you so much. The organisers, the promoters, Jamie, Jay, Blair, I've thanked you already, but wicked time. And yeah, your boy came in second. He'll try to do better in the next one. Until then, stay tuned. Guys, go out there and get your grind on.